Hello, this is Scott Welsh, and this is the trading video for the week of August 2nd, 2015. There are four major things I'm working on. That's why it's titled Four Major Projects. You can see how that works. There are four things I'm working on right now that I'm really excited about. The first one is the Friday only trading. I did a post this week on the TFL blog and also my personal blog, and I have just continued to be amazed by how great these Friday only trading robots are. So I'm continuing to work on that, but I didn't want to talk about that again today. I've been talking about it quite a bit lately. I've also got a stock robot that has just been lonely and unattended to. It's just been kicked to the side in a trash heap. I've been trading this live, walking forward it, not actually trading with my own money, but watching it trade since I don't have a stock account yet. But watching this trade since middle of 2013, and it just keeps going and going and doing very well. And I feel like I've just neglected it. So I'm going to be talking about that soon. And I've also got a trade management robot, another take on a system that I currently trade using the most powerful way to manage money. I'm not going to say what that is, but statistically speaking, there's a way that you can possibly make the most money. It's also quite risky too. And I'm going to build a robot using that money management technique, but that's in development as you can see there. And I'll be back to you talking about that in the future when I work on it and test it a little bit more. But today I want to talk about keeping in sync with current market conditions. And I've mentioned this before if you read any of my blog posts, but it's something I'm really obsessed about, and I've obsessed about it really for quite some time. It's the argument versus use data over a long period of time, find something that works through a bunch of market conditions and then just let it go, which is what I'm currently doing, or keep your robot or your trading system in sync with the current market. Markets change, things change, Greek crisis, whatever, crisis of 2008. Your trading system probably, most likely, will not trade the same or even trade well in all these market conditions. Well, what do? I mean, how do you know when your system is broken? Everybody says, oh, your system always breaks. It always breaks. Well, what's the way around that? How do you get around your system breaking? Oh, I know. I'll just keep it in sync with the current markets. What the heck does that mean? Well, in testing terms and robot terms, it means that you re-optimize all your inputs every so often, therefore always keeping sensitive to what's going on currently. Now, I've been talking about this for a while and I've never been able to make it work. I have not traded a live account trying to keep in sync with the current markets. Haha. Until now, of course. The problem with keeping in sync with current markets is re-optimization. And I get really upset when people talk about optimization or re-optimization, like over-optimize, curve fitting. You know, we all do this in our regular lives, right? The more we optimize, the more we find better ways, the better our life is. If I want to find a better way to work, if I re-optimize and keep finding a better way, I'm not going to end up going the wrong direction, right? Re-optimizing is a good thing. And we do this with our discretionary systems all the time, right? A 10 pip target, well, that didn't work. Well, let's try a 5 pip target. But for whatever reason, when you're talking about robots, people get freaked out. Curve fitting. You're going to curve fit. You can't optimize anything. So it kind of bugs me because my belief is if you optimize, that's a good thing, right? You're learning more about your trading system. That all being said, that little mini rant, I have not been able to keep in sync with current markets, as I've said. The reason why is there are so many inputs. Even a most basic trading system, which all my robots are very basic, even the most basic trading system has a bunch of parameters. Stop loss, what type of stop loss, where do you put the stop, below the low, 10 pips, 20 pips, what's your profit target, do you take it out early, do you move to break even, and those are just off the top of my head. That is a lot of parameters, and if you're going to quote unquote keep in sync with current market conditions, does that mean you're going to optimize 20, 30 different parameters, and are you going to do it every week, every month? There is a huge amount of questions, and every question seems to bring about 5 more questions. So I've been studying this and testing it and doing, I can't even tell you how much work I've done. I've never been able to make it work. Like I said, until now. Go over to this spreadsheet now, and hopefully you can see it on the video. I took the robot that I currently trade with real money. This is the robot that I made. I've had a bad summer, so I'm only up 86% in it. I was up 100% at one time. These past few months have been very flat, not really going anywhere, slight loss, whatever. But I'm up 86% in this robot as I sit here talking to you today. So that's pretty good in 14 months. Pretty good. So I took this robot. I figured this has been a successful robot with real money and real markets. What would happen if I re-optimized every month? So every 30 days, I want to know, what if I just say, okay, that was a great 30 days. I want to keep in tune with the current market. I'm going to re-optimize. Now, the key for me has been less parameters. Only optimize the parameters that I feel will really make a difference. So I'm not optimizing every single input, which could, like I said, could be like 20 different inputs. So I only optimize the ones that I feel will make a difference, and I only optimize the ones that I feel will actually keep you in sync with the current market. I think with all the testing I've done, if you start doing all sorts of parameters, it turns into one good month, one great month, super great month, and then disaster. What I want is a re-optimizing. However, I want to keep those results nice and calm, just slightly better. Well, here's what I found out. At the end of each month, running 300,000 tests on the current system each month, so at the end of 30 days, I re-optimize, and then I use those new settings for the month ahead, and then I did it again. And here you can see the results. Here are the actual results of the robot for 19 months, so going back to 1/1/2014, and I haven't gone beyond that yet. Down here, that's what you see down here at the spreadsheet. But I took, these are the actual results, and these are the results with the new parameters. So for example, for June made that. I re-optimized for all the key components, and then I ran it forward blindly, and I made that. So for for May, I made that, optimized it, and I made that. And hopefully I'm explaining that well. What I did is every 30 days I re-optimized, and then I see what I got, and then I compared it to what I actually got. And here are the results. This is what the robot got. This is what the re-optimized robot got. This is what the robot got. Re-optimized. Robot, re-optimized. And over here column is how much better did I do by re-optimizing. So you can see in July 2015, I would have done $642 better by re-optimizing. The new settings were $600 better. Last month in June, it was $105 better. This means that the re-optimization actually did worse. In real life, made $9. That's nice. Nice job, market. Over here, I would have lost $382, and on down the line. What's pretty amazing to see is, here are the actual results, and here are all the re-optimizing. I would have done $1,688 better if I re-optimize every month. Well, what's the big deal? I'll tell you what the big deal is. This is a $2,000 account, right? Pause for dramatic effect. If I made $1,600 more in 19 months, that's a lot of money on a small account. It's not a lot of money on a $100,000 account, but that is a ton of money. I could have made, even though I made 86% on this so far in real life, I could have made a lot more. So as you can see, this is pretty darn exciting. I've already re-optimized at the end of this month, and we're going to run it forward in August. I'm going to see how they do. I'm not going to touch it, and then I'm going to report back. What do I do with this information? Well, I'll tell you what I did. I'm going to re-optimize and run it in August. But if this works out, if this continues to work, and I'm going to also test this on other currency pairs, this could mean that you could really upgrade your financial profits. You could upgrade your profits tremendously by re-optimizing every month. And in the back of my mind, I felt this all along. I felt like re-optimizing is the right thing to do. I've just never been able to do it, and never been able to do it consistently until this very test. So that's my video for this week. What's the takeaway? Takeaway is I'd love for you to keep in contact with me, and I will keep in contact with you. If this works out, this is something that we may have to get together and get a small group of traders together and see if we can make some money. That is maybe the next step. But the bottom line is, look at your own trading system, whatever you trade, and see maybe at the end of each month you need to constantly make it better, constantly make it better, constantly make it better, because the payoff could be humongous, almost a doubling of your account, or almost another account entirely, almost another entire whole account, right? It was 2,000. That's the video for this week. I'm going to leave you then with contact information, going back to my slides. This is my email. I wanted to put it on the video so you could freeze it if you need it. If you want my first free ebook, the4hourtrade.com. You can see me on Twitter, swelsh66. This is my personal blog. I've been blogging since 2013, tfl365.com/Scott. And this is Rob's new blog, which is awesome. All of us that work with Rob that have done the live seminars are now blogging quite often, and it's at tfl365.com blog, and it's tremendous. And so every Wednesday I'll be blogging on my personal blog and also on Rob, so I'm really excited about that. Feel free to contact me. I'd love to hear what you think, and I will talk to you soon.